Now, the question is, next question is, how will autonomous vehicles interpret hand signals? How will that happen, Dirk?
They're really smart. They're just smart.
Well, there was an article that we ran that asked that very question: how will autonomous vehicles interpret hand signals? And it was written by Abdesalam Saoudi, and it appeared in Thursday's 5th issue of the Quality Digest newsletter. That's our Thursday roundup that we do of the best stuff that we had. Initially appeared on the Conversation blog, which is an excellent blog, earlier this month. Now, Saoudi is a sociolinguist at the University of Pittsburgh. So as such, he's uniquely well equipped to tackle this particular subject, Dirk, which really involves the so-called language, I guess you can use air quotes on that, the language of driving and how driverless cars may or may not be able to interpret and adapt to the variety of ways that human beings communicate with and through their vehicles. You know, people have a lot of communication styles when they drive, right? I mean, there's various things that they do that kind of give cues or clues to those that are driving, sharing the road with them. So,
especially if you're from New Jersey, right?
If you're from Jersey,
you have all sorts of hand signals.
As Saoudi said, if you're from Pittsburgh as well. Well, in this piece, Saoudi covers just a few of the many ways that we discussed in which human drivers communicate with one another. I mean, think about it. When they're driving, people do things like they honk their horns, right? You said it, Dirk. They wave their hands, they flash their lights, they slam on their brakes, they speed up, they slow down. It's all a form of communication as well as transportation, right? If you think about it, they're communicating something to those people that are sharing the road with them. There's also things like signs that adorn cars that provide some context. And no, I don't mean bumper stickers such as "dog is my co-pilot." I mean things like "baby on board," right? Or "this vehicle makes frequent stops." Saoudi references both those signs. I mean, those are messages that plant an idea in your mind that could prove to be really important as you're following said sign bearer on the highway, hopefully at a safe distance and a safe rate of speed.
Some other bumper stickers and things too.
that you might want to stay even further off from. But then you have to also consider, as Saudi did in this piece, the social and the cultural spins that come into play depending on where you're at. I mean, in some countries, maybe you honk your horn constantly, right? I haven't driven in those countries, fortunately, but I have actually, now to think about it. But I mean, some countries, you hear honking all the time as you're driving around. In other countries, it's kind of a warning that you're going to hit me or you did hit me or whatever. Get out of the way. Sounds like an acknowledgement versus, using your horn to say, hey, back off. And now, after thinking about all these very human actions and reactions and interactions, most of which we do without much of any preconception, you might want to ask yourself one question. How will we program autonomous vehicles to respond to any and all those things? And I know you're going to say something, Dirk, but wait till the end. I'm getting there. And toward the end of his piece, Saoudi talks about something that he studies every day, and I'm certain, and that's sociolinguistic cues. And this goes way beyond mere words. These are things that most human beings just learn to interpret as we grow up. I mean, that can be like the flutter of an eyelid or like a throbbing temple or maybe the flat tenor of an inauthentic laugh, right? Like that one right there. Yeah, there you go. We pick up on those things and they mean something to most of us, not all of us, but most of us, in a generally kind of agreed upon way. And that helps us share information with one another without actually having to say it. You may say, I'm fascinated by what you're saying.
Rolling your eyes at the same time.
Now, if you know what that means, you will change the subject, hopefully. And it's one of the many things that makes the human brain the most amazing technology on the planet, if you think about it. Now, we're going to get into this, Dirk, because I know you have some strong opinions. I think programming machines to interpret information anywhere near the speed and sophistication of the human brain is a long, long way off, and I think it's quite frankly going to be impossible. But many smart people, like Dirk over here, believe that this is nothing more than a series of really complex engineering problems that can be analyzed and worked out. And the day is coming when these problems are going to be overcome. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a lot of limits on what machine intelligence can actually do. I know that it's an engineering issue and it's programmable. But I think that day where it's really going to be very smoothly integrated is a long, long way off.
But see, and this is the thing that I think a lot of people and not just Saudi, but other people, where they kind of are missing part of what's going on right now with the autonomous vehicle versus human interaction is the fail-safe part of it. It doesn't have to be smooth. It just has to be safe.
Right.
And that's it. So in a lot of the examples he talked about there, does a car know how to react? No, but it's not going to hurt somebody because it knows you're not supposed to run over a person. You're not supposed to run into a car. You're not supposed to run into a barrier. If I don't know what to do, I don't do anything.
I know, but put it this way: if the autonomous vehicle doesn't know what to do and over a 100-mile trip averages 15 miles an hour, nobody's going to want to use it because of all these fail-safes that are built in.
Well, that part I agree with you. So that part I agree with you. But it seemed to me he was coming at this from a safety point of view, and I'm going from a safety point of view. I don't think there is an issue from what you just said. There's so many fail-safes. Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I'm going to stop. Then yeah, it could be pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
But at least it works. And then over time, as they begin to interpret various things, or as there's more autonomous vehicles, and you don't have to worry about the human jerk because everybody's autonomous, that will change as well. Or as the roads get smarter, your infrastructure communicates with the car and so forth. I think you're right. I think the fail-safe is going to cause problems in the short term, but they're already doing in cities, they're already doing driverless Ubers. I think they're Ubers.
He talked about it.
I think that's what he was talking about, was a driverless Uber cab.
Yeah, he made was
and actually what that cab did worked perfect.
Right.
He turned in front of the cab. It didn't plow into him.
Right.
It went, oh, this guy's turning in front of me, and he shouldn't be. So stop. Problem solved.
Well, but he also
moves across and the cab goes.
He also mentioned that the human passenger in that cab seemed to be pretty frustrated.
But that's the thing, is the car doesn't care.
But the human passenger will.
Yeah, so his eyes get really big or something.
Well, but what if it takes you twice as long to get where you got to go? If you got a meeting with, with a.
That's
client.
a price of progress.
I don't know. I don't know, Dirk. I think that it's an open question.
They're going to kick you kicking and screaming into your autonomous vehicle. Like.